So you might wonder what's the problem with a planet that's full of cows and pigs? Well, the problem isn't exactly on the animal, but the problem comes from the fact that these animals need to eat. And to feed these farm animals whose meat we're going to eat in the end, we destroy forests, we cut down trees, we open huge upon huge fields of cropland. And I think like cows are very inefficient when it comes to producing meat. You need to feed it a lot of food for it to produce just 1 kilograms of meat, food and water as well. So cows are very wasteful, and the fact that the primary drivers of deforestation in Indonesia and in South America is that to open land for croplands, that's just goes to tell you how much destruction these meat industry can bring to the planet.
All right. Hello, guys. It's Daxki with another episode of Project Vibes, and today I'm with another guest, and it's a second time guest. It's Eric again from the very first episode. Say hello, Eric.
Hello, guys. Thank you, Dusky, for inviting me for the second time. It's been a pleasure, and I'm glad to be back here.
Yep. So, how's your day?
It's been great. Yeah. Nothing too special in particular, but everything's been going fine. And yeah, I'm just glad to be back here in your show, Dusky. How about you?
Yep. I've been doing some walking lately.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I talk about it on my previous episodes with Vortex and D-Rock. I need to get some sweats out, so I've been walking around the block. Yeah,
That's great. Yeah.
although my
Trying to get more active and move some muscle, I think.
yeah, although I'm having problems with the cramps when I walk. I couldn't last too long. Maybe because I'm very low in calcium, but nonetheless I'm doing something at least.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
start. Yeah.
So you made a new video.
Yes, I did. It's been out for just over 1 week, and I've been working on this video for quite a while. Since I uploaded my last video, I continued straight on to working on this one. It's still in the same series, the holoscene extinction series, and this is the final and the last episode within this series where I kind of wrap everything that I've discussed in the previous videos in like a summary video, and also bring up new informations to regarding the topic of the holocene extinction.
Yeah, so this is like the you're watching a movie, it's like the catharsis of your work. Something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So, uh let's jump right to it.
Mhm.
Holocene extinction event. So,
Yes.
can you give us a summary of it, like a short explanation what it's about for, some people might not heard of that word yet. What is it?
Oh, yeah. Maybe we'll start with the definition of extinction. So, as we know, different species has different population size, like the number of individuals within the species. For example, humans, there's a lot of us, like billions of us, and that's quite a big population size for a single species. While other species, they might have smaller population size, and a species is considered extinct when all of the individuals within the population, within the species, has died out. I mean, there is also a term called effective extinction or something like that. That's when a few remaining individuals still remain, but there's no possibility to recreate the entire population with the remaining individuals. So extinction, I mean, I'm guessing a lot of people should be more familiar with the term of extinction, like species disappearing, like completely dying out. While an extinction event is an event like in a short window of time where many species die out due to driven by similar results, driven by similar causes, or even by one exact cause. And the holocene extinction is one of that. From the fossil records, we have discovered that there have been lots of extinction events in the history of this planet, and we name them based on the era, the epoch where the extinction happens. And the era where we live on right now is called the Holocene, which is like I think it means the new era. I actually forgot what it means, but it refers to the time frame where we live now. And yeah, the Holocene extinction is also often referred as the sixth mass extinction because we've observed 5 other mass extinction events in the history of the planet. It is ongoing, so it's still happening now. Also, unprecedented event, so no one predicted that this is going to happen, and it is primarily driven by human activities. The extinction event is characterized by a rapid decline in the populations and extinctions of numerous plant and animal species across the globe. The primary factors contributing to the Holocene extinction include habitat destruction, deforestation, that's kind of the same thing, pollution, overfishing, overexploitation of resources and animal species. Climate change is a big player. And also the introduction of invasive species. I didn't cover this as much in the video, but this is actually one of the drivers of extinctions. And all of those are man-made problems. We caused all of those driving factors. And human activities, mostly urbanization, industrialization, also I mentioned in the video, agriculture, have disrupted the ecosystems and led to the decline of many species. And yeah, I think it's really important that we look into this problem because, like it or not, this is an existential threat. This problem, if left unchecked, will actually cause probably the collapse of our civilization, the collapse of humanity. So I think that's how I put the Holocene extinction in kind of a kind of short definition.
Yeah, that's pretty heavy, It's pretty serious actually. I mean, yeah, like I said before, humans are very reckless and not a lot of people are aware of this. Probably not it's not primarily their fault as well. And I'm very fascinated with the video that you made, so I had to invite you here again.
Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah, so there's things that you discussed on your video regarding a few things. So let's go one by one. Firstly, there's this thing called stabilizing human population. What
Yes.
can you add to it?
This is kind of a controversial take because not many people like it when you say that you shouldn't have too many children or you should wait longer before you get married. And even some people on the other end of the spectrum have started to raise, instead of overpopulation, they started to raise the concern of underpopulation, that we, in fact, are not having enough human on this planet to function as a society, which I actually don't quite agree with that point of view. But stabilizing human population is an important aspect, because the more people there is, the more resource we need to feed them. Because let's put aside the demands of energy and the luxurious things. Every human needs to eat, and to grow food you need land. It actually ties back to lots of countries have actually considered this to be a serious problem. We might look at China, for example. I mean, not now, but in the past, China used to have this one child policy, where they try to limit couples from having more than one children. It was effective, I think. Like China's population has flatlined, and some experts even predicted that it's going to decline later in the century. Many economists think that this can be a problem, and I think it could be a problem for a society that's used to having so many people, mostly the economic system, that will suddenly lose the people in the productive age paying taxes and doing the economy. But in terms of the environment, it is complex, but it's hard to deny. I mean, the numbers are out there. It's hard to deny that our huge number is one of the main driving cause of the ecosystem decline. And actually, I'd like to add a very important note here. Every time I mention human population in the video, I've always accompanied it with the demands, the resources that we eat. So I don't want anyone to focus on solely the number of humans, but also the lifestyle of each and every human on this planet. Because I think if every one of us live moderately, and all of us try to live a life that's not wasteful, that's not over consuming stuff, that should bring back the pressure on the ecosystem by quite a significant amount. So yeah, stabilizing human population, but more importantly also living on a more moderate lifestyle, less consumptive. I think that's why I'm going to put it, Daxki.
Yeah, I think the economic system is very heavily dependent on the population growth, right?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it's somehow not working for the environment. It's detrimental, and
Yeah,
we really need to find the balance there,
yeah,
and
that's true.
yeah,
Well, actually, I
pay
wouldn't
more
say that
attention.
the economic system isn't going to work. I mean, based on the number of humans, but more like the age of the population. Because if you have lots of children and lots of old people, retired people that's not working anymore, then it's going to put a burden on the economic system, because more people are taking in the money from the country, rather than the people that's actually working and producing the resources for the country. And what's worrying is that it is true that there's a lot of us, and the economists are concerned about the age of the population. In many countries, including China, the majority of the population right now, I think, is in the working age. So they're still paying taxes, and they're still pushing the economy, making it grow. But in a few years, in a few decades, they're going to retire. They're going to get old, and they're going to retire, and they're going to receive pensions from the country, which is a burden to the economy, to the national economy. And this is the problem that's quite different from the environmentalist point of view and the economics point of view, because asking people to have lots of children to replace the workforce is actually not exactly the right way to go about the civilization. I think it's quite complex. I'm sorry if I sound confusing. It's quite
Oh,
difficult to explain.
it totally makes sense, you know. Yeah, I also forgot to factor that in, you know. Uh, Not all humans can work, can be productive, and some of them will probably end up being a consumer. So, more consumers, more burden to the environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep, that totally makes sense. Yeah, it's kind of worrying. Although, for the average man, uh, such as me or most people, they don't really think about it because they are, for the most part, on survival mode. I mean, it's a luxury for me and you and for some people to actually discuss this and have a time, but other people, no, they don't really care, never heard of it either. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's quite
it is
a
true.
it's quite a heavy thought to carry, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but people are like working for their lives, for their children. They're focusing on their own career, and most of them they don't have the time to think about, and even I would bet that they won't even want to think about this because it adds to the pressure and the stress they're going through the daily lives. So it's true, yeah.
yeah, and they have dreams also, you know. If they think about this stuff, they're probably gonna be depressed because, you know, it's like you grow up poor and then you have many plans for the future. You want this and this and this, that, and then you heard about this topic, and then all of a sudden you have a dilemma, you know?
Yeah,
So,
you
yeah.
become like, should I pursue my life, or should I be more moderate and think about the environment? Well, actually, there's an interesting catch here that you brought up, the poor people. Actually, the poor people, like the poor countries, they are the ones that are least impacting the planet. They, I mean, they live moderately. They don't overconsume, so overconsumption is not a problem. The problem that mostly, when it comes to the environment, mostly comes from the rich countries. So you would think like the US, um, the UN, no, not the UN, the EU, the Europe countries. Those are the most they're the biggest player in terms of uh, producing waste, and also um, in terms of the environment, the carbon emission that they produce. Maybe most of them now are transitioning to more clean energy. They use nuclear, and also they use renewables like solar and wind. But in the past, they've burned much more fossil fuels. They've destroyed more, like a lot more than what the poor countries like, for say, Indonesia and the Philippines are doing. So I'd suggest for the poor people, I mean, for the people in the growing economies, like our countries, to have an optimistic view, because we are actually starting to implement the right way to produce, to consume, and to do our economies. Whereas the big countries that's done it in the past, they've done it irresponsibly. They've destroyed the environment much more than we do. So, of course, this is not a blame game. To point fingers to whose fault this is. This is definitely our burden as the whole humans on this planet. But I would really encourage everyone to stop worrying as much, because I believe that there is a middle ground between improving your well-being and welfare of your family, whilst doing it in a responsible manner. And that's why I strive to spread messages like this and to educate people that there are these problems, but this is not like we're not doomed. Like even I said it in the video that the fate of our planet is not yet sealed. It can be changed if we start to focus on doing the mitigation of the mistakes that our ancestors did in the past. And yeah, so I'm actually an advocate for economic growth. So I'm not going to put the environment before the well-being of the people. I think they can go hand in hand. So the people can have a good life whilst not destroying the environment as much.
These bigger countries, the richer countries, they just happen to be ahead of everyone. I mean, most of the big corporations came from those countries, right? So
Exactly, yes.
I'm not really sure if it's the country's fault or the capitalist's fault, because this brings us to the next list of topics that we want to cover is curbing capitalism. So again,
Yeah.
it's a good entry to that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this. I think we should put more focus on this. Capitalism, yes, it's the bad player, uh, because I think the destruction of the environment can be boiled down to human greed, and what thing that embodies the human greed more than the capitalistic system? Uh, I think it's good to like take people out of poverty and encourage innovation and things like that. But extreme capitalism is also like the embodiment of human greed. And I believe not only the environment, but many people have suffered due to capitalism. This is actually quite difficult to say because I don't know any other better system than capitalism, because we know communism doesn't work, and capitalism also has its drawbacks, and I don't know if we have a clean cut solution, like a silver bullet to this problem on how we do our economy. What do you think, Daxi? Do you think that this is the better system than the capitalistic system?
Oh, I I don't know. I have some few ideas. Something that I dream of when I was developing my game Rogue Courier, because it's a game which takes place in space. So they have a different way of living there, and their capitalist ways are different from what we currently have on Earth. Although I cannot really explain it, but my idea is about meritism. I think
Ah,
so.
okay.
Everything that you do is credited to your account, and that essentially serves as money, your merit.
Okay.
So if you
Yeah.
don't
So
work,
it's something like people are going to get paid as much as the thing that they do. So it's like a very fair system. The
yeah,
more work you do, the more merit you're going to receive.
yes. Although it's kind of hard to explain in one single video. Perhaps I should show it on the game at some point, maybe in the next games that I make, because
Ah, okay, yeah,
the
that'd
first
be
one,
interesting.
yeah. So yeah, the idea is you don't get to obtain something if you don't have a deed that that you made. So for instance,
Mm-hmm.
you are a farmer. So you need people to work on your farm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And once they work on your farm, they get credit on the work that they did for you, and it's basically kind of like I can't say that it's a fiat currency, but it's a merit currency, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
okay. See.
so if for instance, if you discover something like a new resource, let's say for example, oil, you found oil, who's gonna own that oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not the corporations, it's the people who will work on that resource that's gonna
Oh,
own
yeah.
it. That's my idea of it. And then if they
Mm-hmm.
decide to turn it into a corporation, all that the all the people that got involved in the first place will have the entitlement for that resource, something like that. Unlike
Mm-hmm.
here,
They're finite.
yeah. So that's my idea in space, but here in
Uh-huh.
the in on Earth, it's about uh the gaining more profit. Capitalism is driven by that. So
Exactly, it's profit.
the less capital you spend, you want more profit, and I think it's unhealthy for all of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, especially the people who is at the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Because capitalism only profits those who are already on top, and those who are hardworking at the bottom, they barely get anything, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and also the our monetary system is really fucked up. The richer get richer and the
Yeah,
poorer gets poorer. Uh,
that's the problem with capitalism.
yeah, like what we discussed on the first interview. The salary is the same while the cost of living keeps going up and up.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one is reducing demands for meat.
Oh, this is a sensitive one.
Yeah, because yeah, I have some thoughts about it too.
Uh, I'll just put it plainly out there, that I do not ask anyone to become vegan or vegetarian. I eat meat as well. So, but don't call me a hypocrite for saying this. There is a very strong reason why meat is actually killing the planet. So in the video, I've shown the proportion of the biomass of mammals in the world, and the majority of it, 60% of it, it comes from livestock. So the things that we raise and we eat. So you might wonder what's the problem with a planet that's full of cows and pigs? Well, the problem isn't exactly on the animal, but the problem comes from the fact that these animals need to eat. And to feed these farm animals whose meat we're going to eat in the end, we destroy forests, we cut down trees, we open huge upon huge fields of cropland. And I think like cows are very inefficient when it comes to producing meat. You need to feed it a lot of food for it to produce just 1 kilograms of meat, food and water as well. So cows are very wasteful, and the fact that the primary drivers of deforestation in Indonesia and in South America is that to open land for croplands, that's just goes to tell you how much destruction these meat industry can bring to the planet. And we haven't even discussed about the fact that cows emits methane. Methane is a very strong greenhouse gas. I think by orders of magnitude stronger than carbon dioxide. And cows burp methane from the fact that they eat grass and they ferment it in their rumen. It's one of the chambers of their stomach, and they burp methane. So meat doesn't only drive deforestation and species extinction. Meat also drives the warming of the planet by emitting such a potent greenhouse gas. I'm not telling everyone to stop eating meat. I'm just telling, make meat something special to eat, maybe on special occasions, on Christmas, on your birthday, when you have a big family gathering. It will not only be better for the planet, it will also be better for your health. Maybe not in developing countries like ours, Daxki, but specifically those in the Western countries who eat lots of meat, and they're having, body weight issues, they're having cardiac arrest problems, and that's reducing meat sounds to me like the silver bullet to solve those problems altogether. So yeah, that's that. But I'd like to hear your opinion on reducing the demands of meat.
I think there's a talk about the effects of meat, but there's also the effects of vegan diet as well. It's, how do I say this? Yeah, this is controversial even for me to say.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
because
I think I know
I
what you mean. The cost of vegan,
yeah, because
which the transport cost.
the transport cost and the clearing of land as well. When
Oh yeah, this is where people get it wrong.
when you're
Um,
creating a farm, you have to clear up the ground. You have to kill the worms, the bugs, the snakes, the rats, everything. So, for example, if everyone stops eating meat and we just go vegan, I don't I don't think there'll be enough space to feed us all. I think maybe it boils down to human discipline to limit their consumption of meat, but not not to say that we have to stop eating meat, because it's the same thing with veganism. I think the ones that benefits with veganism is the big corporations like Monsanto and Syngenta, the seed companies, and
uh-huh.
yeah,
Okay, yeah.
there's those
I see your
factors
point.
as well. Yeah.
Well, actually, I have to disagree on that. Based on the numbers that I found, based on the FAO on, I can't find the year, on 2019. So 46% of our habitable land is used as croplands, which, to grow food. However, the food that we grow, only 23% goes directly to human food. And that includes the grain, the rice, the cereal, everything from that. Fruits as well, fruits and vegetables that we eat, only 23%. The majority, 77%, is what I said before. It goes to livestock, goes to feeding cows, goes to feeding pigs, goes to feeding chickens, making them fat. The clearing, if we're going to use this as, this is not going to be accurate, but for the sake of argument, proportionately, eating meat means clearing more land and destroying more habitats. not directly for the animal that we eat, but for the food, to grow the food, to feed them. I do not suggest everyone to turn vegan overnight, because it's not going to work, and there are also health risks of becoming vegan. You need
Yep.
to take supplements
Yep.
to become vegan. What I'm telling everyone to do is if you eat cows 2 weeks, like twice every week, maybe reduce it to once every week. Cut it down to by 50%. It's not going to suddenly make the planet heal, but it's a step in the right direction. And all of those arguments against veganism, that the big corporations are going to profit from it, it is true. It holds some truth in it. But again, the use of fertilizers and insecticides, they come a lot from the companies that grow food or feed to feed livestock. So actually, those companies are going to lose a lot of profit if suddenly all of these lands that they used to grow food to feed livestock suddenly, let's say, get transformed back into forests. So yeah, this is where a lot of people tend to get it wrong about the transport cost. It's a bit more difficult. It's a bit more complicated, because in general, if you eat food that are grown in your hometown, that's grown locally, it's going to be best, because the transport would be cheaper, and also it's going to support the local economy. But it is true that transporting food, the almonds and the avocados for the vegan lifestyle is quite expensive. But I'd argue that it's still not as expensive as beef. That's our main problem here. And 77%, for the listeners to maybe they want to recheck the fact, you can recheck it yourself. But the number that I found, the amount of cropland that's used to feed livestock is 77%, while the amount of land that's used to raise to grow food for ourselves, vegetables, fruits, including avocados and almonds, is just 23%. So from the number alone, you can see that we know what is the primary driver of the problem.
Yeah, thank you for clearing that up, because I'm not well informed with all the statistics and stuff. I'm pretty much dependent on the internet, on podcasts and videos that I watch. Yeah,
Yeah.
but what do you think about the insects and what is causing them to disappear? Because yeah, like farms are harming the insects.
Yeah.
They don't have a proper habitat, and also the chemicals that we spray to grow crops is reducing their population. So if they disappear, all the other uh, animals that are dependent on them as food source will disappear as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's very true.
So what are your
Well,
thoughts about the chemical industries?
okay. First of all, we all agree that using too much insecticides will harm the planet, will harm the farmers, will harm also us, the consumers, who got exposed to too much dangerous chemicals. And I've got to be honest, the studies into insects are not as expansive as the studies into other animals. I've also brought this up in the video, the problem about taxonomic bias. People tend to not to overlook the small creatures. We know insects have a bad rap of being creepy, being unpleasant. So it's quite difficult to make people to care, and also to raise funding to research the problems about insects. I don't have a really clear-cut solution to this. Maybe to reduce the use of insecticides and to have more land that are protected for insects, because the studies into insects is not as expansive, and I think the problems started from habitat loss, destroying their natural habitats, and also from the extreme usage, the excess usage of insecticides. It's going to take a lot of government regulations on what is safe and not safe to use. I think lots of modern farms are starting to employ the quote-unquote organic way to fight pests, because let's be honest, if we don't use insecticides, all of our croplands are going to get mullet, is going to get destroyed by insects. And then these insects, I mean, let's say the grasshoppers are going to destroy our cornfield. And because of the abundance of food, these grasshoppers are going to experience a population boom. They're going to suddenly explode in number, and it is also going to disrupt the ecological balance. I think it's going to we need to be really careful when approaching this. Like, banning insecticides altogether is not the way to go. I think employing something more eco-friendly will be quite the perfect solution. I think for like in strawberry farms in the US, they started using these mites. It's like a small arachnids, like the cousins of spiders. So instead of using chemicals, they use these mites to kill off the aphids, if I'm remembering correctly. So they use the natural predator of the pest to grow the strawberries. And I think it's quite eco-friendly. The mites are not going to explode in population, because once the pests are all clear, they're going to starve to death and basically balance itself out. But we do not have every natural predator for the insects that will become parasites, that will become pests in our croplands. Maybe using birds will work too. Birds and lizards maybe, and things like that. I think in Indonesia, they've started using fish. So they grow rice and fish together. And this fish is going to take care of the mosquito larvae and the small insects that might fall to the water. So yeah, that's great. But to be honest, I'm not really clear cut on this, and I'll just take this with a grain of salt.
So the problem is we can't eat too much meat, and we can't create new farms for
but
vegetable.
actually,
So I think
reducing. Yes, go ahead.
I think our best option is to eat a lot of insects. At least, yeah. I mean, if we can't control it by pesticide, we should eat insects more. Don't you think? Yeah.
Well, if you're being serious, it is actually a real solution. Yeah, I think it's not going to be easy to convince people to eat insects, to be honest.
Well, there's this video that I saw. I think it's a local video where this is where the venture capitalism will come in, because there's this new industry that's being developed here on the south, where they are raising flies.
Oh, BSF, isn't it? Black shoulder flies.
Yeah, they are in a controlled environment, and they are raising them, and they actually manage to make fertilizers and food. Even you can even eat them.
That is so great.
Who would have thought that you can eat flies? They fry it.
But
just
are you
like
open to eating flies?
Yeah, I think I'd be interested to try it. I've eaten grasshoppers before. You deep fry them and you put a lot of spice on it, MSG, and it's good
Uh-huh.
for alcohol when you're drinking and you eat the grasshopper, fried grasshopper, and some other bugs. Yeah, I tried it also. Yeah, I'd be willing
Oh,
to try
what
the
does it
fly
taste?
as well.
I've heard that the grasshoppers taste like shrimp. Is it true?
No, no, they don't. It's a different taste. It's there's a grassy flavor to it.
Ah.
Although it's kind of similar to shrimp now that I think about it. Just add the grass flavor.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, actually, this is really interesting. This is really interesting. I've planned to make a video about insect farming, and I'm really glad that it's starting to become like mainstream nowadays. I've also seen like the ads on Instagram of someone selling the kit to start farming black soldier flies, and I think it's quite of a silver bullet as well because if you stop growing soybean, for example, if you stop clearing land for soybean and you start to farm insects as well, and then use the protein from the insects to raise chicken and raise cattle as well, it's going to be very environmentally friendly because insects don't require lots of resources. You can throw waste at them. You can throw, kitchen waste, your leftover foods. You can just put it in the maggots bin, and then they're going to upcycle the nutrients. So the waste that's basically unusable by humans, they will upcycle it and turn it into usable protein. I'm actually have been familiar with the idea of replacing insects. No, I mean replacing soybeans with insects as feed for other animals. So instead of feeding insects directly to people, you feed it to the things that people eat. So you feed it to fish, you feed it to chickens, you feed it to cattle and pigs as well,
And
and
humans.
yeah, and humans too. If I've seen a few startups that use ground crickets, so like in the powder form, and create snacks with it. It's
Wow.
very high in protein and it's very environmental friendly because you don't need, unlike soybean and cows that consume lots of resources, insects don't need that much to grow. They grow very quickly. They also grow in a small confined spaces. So it's very yeah, it's very ideal for us to farm insects. The only problem I have is the marketing because I personally don't like insects. I think they're creepy, and it's going to. I'm willing to try it, and if it's good for the environment, I'm a big advocate for it, and I'll eat it as much as I can if it's accessible, and I support the development of insect based food. So yeah. Actually, when I was a kid, my neighbor used to eat crickets.
Mm.
So they would catch the crickets in front of their house, like in the garden, and mix it with flour and then deep fry it. Yeah, it looks kind of creepy, but they say it tastes good, and yeah, insect is a very excellent protein source, nutrient source for us humans to take the place of meat. So yeah, thanks Daxi for bringing that up. It's I think I will start to develop the video about insect farming hopefully soon.
So I gave you an idea then. Yeah, all this talking about insects, I'm starting to imagine what if I create a insect based sausage, you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
that will be interesting. Yes.
like insect based burger or something like that. Or even come up with a new dish. I like to cook, and
Oh.
yeah, that's what one of the other hobbies that I have aside from drawing girls,
Oh.
anime girls. I also like to cook. Yeah.
Oh.
or watch a lot of videos
Okay, I honestly
from
didn't expect
outside
that
the
from you,
country.
Daxi.
Yeah, I like to cook, but although not always, only when I'm free. Yeah, uh, especially when I have the craving. Yeah, if
Okay, I
I
see.
guess if insects are easy to come by, like when you go to the market and you see this insect, maybe you can create a dish based on it. That would be a great solution for the farming problem.
Yeah, it really would. Yes. But in some cultures, eating insects can be seen as uncommon, and I think to overcome this preconception, that's going to be quite the challenge. Is it common in around your place to eat insects, Dusky?
Yeah, there's a lot of insects that, but the most popular one here is the grasshopper.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you can go to a market and they put it on a basket uh
Oh, interesting.
on a basket, and you can buy it in kilograms. You can buy it like half a kilo. Yeah.
Oh,
And then you
so how much does it cost? Is it expensive compared to other meat?
it's actually much cheaper because they don't have to farm it. It's actually helpful for their crops because when people hunt the grasshoppers, that's less pest for their
Oh,
farm.
okay.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
people actually welcome the hunters, and the hunters will cook it and dispose it on the market, something like that.
Oh, that's very cool.
And there's also
Oh,
the coconut bug, the ones with the very big horn. Yeah, those are delicious as well. They
ah,
There
I
are
see.
people who are into that. I tried it once, but I didn't really like it. But there's there's a lot of people who like to eat insects, especially in the countryside. In the city, no, not too much insect
Yeah,
eaters
that's
there. It's
yeah, I
mostly on the
understand. But
countryside that eats insects and other stuff.
oh, okay, I think it's pretty similar with Indonesia here, and that's the barrier that we need to overcome. If you're able to market these insect products to the city people, then the demand is obviously going to rise.
I think
And
I think if we're gonna solve the agricultural problem, I think everyone, all students should go to a farm mandatorily and experience the food such as eating insects.
yeah, introduce it to them when while they're still young,
Yep,
and that should be able to get them going with the ideas to develop and be familiar with the concept.
yep.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, actually, talking about insects, I got reminded with rats.
Uh-huh.
I haven't looked rats, mouse, you know. Um, I haven't looked
I tried it
to.
also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the farm farm rats. Yeah, I tried it also. Uh,
Okay.
Back then when I was before I become an online creator, I was working on farms. We were cutting sugar canes, and the
Oh,
rats are pretty clean actually because all they eat is sugar cane.
oh, I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I tried
So
it.
how do they taste?
Oh, it's delicious. It's very juicy. We
Oh, great.
just we just remove the skin, including the fur, and then gut it, remove the guts, and put it on the fire.
Oh,
And
so you roast it on
yeah,
open fire.
yeah, we
Oh,
roast
sounds
it.
delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, no salt needed. Actually, it's very tasty by on its own. And
Okay. So
after
does it have? a lot of meat? Like, is it bony? Like how do you describe the experience of eating rats?
Yeah, the smaller ones don't have much meat on it, especially on the feet part and the legs.
Okay.
Yeah, but the chest and the butt part are very meaty, to
Oh,
say the
yeah,
least.
yeah. I
Yeah.
can imagine.
It doesn't
So,
taste like any meat like the pork and goat and cow. It doesn't taste like that. It has its own uh, flavor.
okay.
Uh,
Now I'm curious how rats taste. Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
but the
I
rats
think
on the city, no way I'm gonna eat that.
yeah, they
Yeah,
carry
we should
diseases.
we should address the city rats as well maybe
Uh-huh.
later.
Well, I'm thinking about actually farming rodents, so rats and rabbits, because they eat grass. They can eat like the unused um, parts of the vegetables, and they also reproduce quickly. They grow quickly. So I think it is quite a nice substitute for meat because rats are also not resource intensive. You don't need a large place to raise them, and they grow quickly. They can eat a lot and still grow, unlike cows that you have to feed constantly. And so yeah, so I think one of the solution on top of insect farming is also farming rodents, so rats and rabbits. That will be quite a good way to get meat.
Yep, get those proteins. Yeah, so anyway, since we've been talking about the expansion of our farms, been worldwide, perhaps we should talk about the increasing protected areas, right?
Oh yes, it's also one of the
We
solutions to slow the extinctions.
Yeah, so
Uh,
what are your thoughts?
it's quite straightforward, I think. Um, I think we should have more forests and wildlife areas that's protected. So, of course, to contain the wildlife that's in there, the biodiversity that's in there. And the problem with it is that in most countries, land area is a problem and it's a commodity. So when money is at play, I think it's a competition between who can pay more, between the conservation activists who got their money from funding and donations, and the big corporations, the farming corporations, and also the smaller players like individual farmers. So yeah, so I think there just needs to be more government regulation on what area can be and cannot be changed, what area needs to be protected. Actually, in the video, I've shown the map of the areas on the planet that's high in biodiversity and productivity, and I overlay it with the map of protected areas that we have right now. The problem with that is we are protecting the areas that are not exactly rich in biodiversity, and this might give um, you know the image to the public that, oh, we have a huge swath of land that's protected, so it's enough, we don't need any more. But the truth is we should focus on protecting areas that is more concentrated, that is more rich in biodiversity and things like that to make it more effective, because we want to protect as small amount of an area as possible, and we want that area to be as effective as possible. And I think overlaying it with the areas with the rich biodiversity is the way to go. And again, this also correlates with the problem with money. Developing countries definitely want to exploit whatever natural resources they have. And to be honest, um, converting huge areas of land into protected areas for wildlife isn't going to produce a lot of money. Let's say if you change it into a mine or a farmland. So that's that too. We need to balance between the priorities here that people have, preserving nature or getting quick bucks, getting quick profit quickly from destroying the natural forest.
Yeah, that's the thing about protected areas is because it's not productive. So the government will spend money on protecting it but gets nothing out of it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Actually,
not
in some
very appealing
places,
to
like
them.
yeah, that's very true, and that's why we need to put more pressure on the government to realize that it's important to protect those areas. And actually, in some cases, these protected areas can be a great source of tourism, like the Yellowstone in the US. I think it's a very beautiful park. It's, if I'm not mistaken, one of the largest protected area in the world, and it's generating um, quite a noticeable amount of profit to the local government because people are going there, and actually, tourists, they will either rent the hotels or they will buy the foods from there, and it's stimulating the local economies. So that's that too.
Yeah, there's also the idea that uh, big corporations can fund it, you know, the protection of of certain areas, you know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
for research purposes, they should sponsor it.
Yeah, I think, but the government must uh, make it the law to do that because I don't think these greedy corporations would want to spend their money on doing that.
Well, they spend money on charity, right? So instead of throwing money on this charity stuff, why don't they put it there?
Well, because charity, make it's actually advertisement as well. By doing charity, you make your products well known, and people then will like your product and will more likely to buy it. Also, charities that companies do, I think it falls into CSR, the corporate social responsibility that is mandated by the government. So yeah, I have little to no hope to these greedy corporations, but let's just be optimistic and hope that they would want to buy and protect forests.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it's the governments that put that requirement, right? So
Yes.
why can't the government put that requirement on corporations as well?
I guess because it goes to politics. Um, yeah, it goes to the politicians. This is actually going to one of the solutions that we can do to slow down the holocene extinction is to elect politicians that actually care and that will actually do something about it. Make regulations and laws related to this because that's the only way we can make a noticeable difference by having regulations set in place, forcing these big players, the corporations, to do good. Because without those regulations, these corporations are going to squeeze every cent that they can get and actually destroy everything.
So do you think the government is afraid to add these requirements because if somehow the government fails, gets toppled, these big donors or protectors will take over these places to liquidate their investment.
Something like that, but not exactly. I think it goes more like this. It's these companies like to lobby laws and politicians. So let's say a newly elected leader is planning to make it a requirement for corporations to pay a certain amount of money for conservation. and these corporations definitely don't like having to spend money. So instead of paying money as required by the law, the corporations will then bribe the politicians. Like, hey, bro, I'm going to pay you this amount of money, but you cancel your new regulations. How about that? And if the money that is at risk is bigger, then these bribes will the schemes will be bigger, the amounts will be bigger. The politicians that's bribed, the everyone that's related in the scheme will be bigger, and I think that's the problem. It's hard to make everything clear and transparent to the public because all of these politicians, they actually like to, I'm not saying anyone but I think in general that's what happens. I think it's happened with the oil company in the US, like when the government tries to tax these oil companies from emitting pollution, they don't like it. So instead, they lobby these law, and then maybe they bribe the politicians to cancel the law, and they have it. The law was cancelled, and everyone get to pollute the air as much as they want without any payment, without any, what's it called, fee to pay to pollute.
Yeah, perhaps they can also just leave the country, move to another
Yeah.
place. Since they have a lot of capital, they'll find a place where the uh the capital is much lower needed, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true as well.
it's very tricky. This
It is very tricky, yes.
Yeah, that protecting some areas are very hard. Perhaps we need some vigilante group to even like a fanatic. I guess we can use those people now.
Uh-huh. Well, I think the
Maybe if
more
I
the
get
solution
rich,
will be.
I'll fund some fanatic group like that, just to just to protect the environment.
Oh, that would be great.
Like a secret society which like to protect the environment, and
Yeah.
we go in secret. We'll hire this assassin and kill those people that wants to destroy it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's going to make an interesting movie from the concept.
yeah, that be pretty fun actually. Anyway, so it all comes down to taxonomic bias, right? Uh, People don't care about uh, some stuff. They are highly emotional with some stuff, like the bald eagle. And here in the
Oh, yeah.
Philippines, we also have the Philippine eagle. I believe it's the largest eagle in the world, and yeah, the people were quite concerned about it extinction because people here were very proud of it.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, those kinds of species, we call them the charismatic species because people care about them and they have the certain charisma that people like. Whereas, let's say, or a random seagrass in the Indian Ocean, people don't care about those. Like. So yeah, this is taxonomic bias. Unless they have economic value or they are loved by the general public, it's going to be really hard to raise funding to care about them. But there are solutions to this, which is using this flagship species, this charismatic species, to as a gate to communicate to people. Let's say the Philippines eagle um, um, lives in an environment with a certain tree, like the eagle nests in this tree. The eagle eats this kind of animal, and let's say the tree and the animal are also threatened. Then the funding that goes to the protection of the eagle can be distributed to the protection of the tree and the prey animal as well. And that's what we've been doing, but still raising money to save species is by definition difficult because people hardly get the benefit directly in return. Like if you buy something, you get the stuff that you buy. You see the stuff directly in front of your eyes. But for protection, you donate, and sometimes the result isn't going to be visible after a decade, after a few years at a minimum, and that's um, quite difficult. And that's not to say that we have solved all of this flagship species, this taxonomic bias problem. It is right into us as a human that we tend to care about certain types of species. This is like saying the pretty privilege, like beautiful people tend to get more attention than the not beautiful people. And yeah, this is very human, and it's raising awareness about this will help, but unless we do the funding scheme that I explained before with the eagle, it's going to be quite difficult.
Yeah, I think raising awareness is the government's job. This
No, I
on
think
this
it's
one.
everyone's job.
No,
like
no.
what I'm trying to do.
I mean, if you want your population to be aware of these things, it's only the government that has the power to compel
Hmm.
everyone,
Yeah.
right? Because if it just comes down to us, we are very selfish, you know. I don't think
Yes.
I can trust the human race to uh pursue this because they are very distracted with everything else, you know, especially now with the celebrity, the
Oh yeah.
influencer stuff, you know. We don't
Yeah,
we
people
can't
care about those.
we care about those, but if we want to care about the less beautiful animals, I think it's we need the government to, although I'm not very in good terms with the government for the most part. I don't like the government, but I think on this one, I'll I'll make an exception.
Okay.
Yeah, we need the government for this one because
Yeah.
yeah, they have the guns, you know. They can force
Hmm.
people. So my idea is, yeah, just like the insect farming, the government should uh show the kids to the ecosystem themselves, not just by the books, because for the most part, students only learn about these things on a book,
Oh yeah,
so they
exactly.
don't really see what's going on,
Yeah.
and so they just forget about it. They don't experience it firsthand. So yeah, I think the government can do a better job at this.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
really agree with what you said.
So
But you know
maybe
what,
in grade
Duxby?
school they should go on those kind of trips.
Oh
And
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Also that would also start a new industry, you know, that a lot of jobs will be created for that, but if the
Oh yeah,
government will
absolutely.
do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that our government can improve, but they seem to be focusing on other stuff, or not focus on anything at all. But
Yeah.
it actually, the fact that we are doing this podcast, I mean, you are using your platform to also spread awareness by talking about this. I believe some of you viewers might um, also learn something new and be more aware about these problems. And that's at least what I try to do with my channel. Although it's not the easiest thing to sell, I think it's important for us to let people know that there are problems that go straight under their nose, and they might not have an idea about. But if they know about it, they're going to care. They're going to do something about it.
Yeah, we need to eat more insects.
Yes. That's true.
Yeah. So anyway, there's this thing that you talk about also, this convention on biological diversity. What is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's something that the UN made. Um, the UN has lots of conventions actually. Like they have the convention on against corruption. They have the UN convention on the rights of the children, and they also have the convention on natural biodiversity, because these are global problems that need all of the players on the planet to agree on something and solve the problem. I think this convention has, I don't know if it is the same one or if it's a separate one, but the UN has managed to achieve something really great. Like it's probably the best international teamwork we've seen in the history of man, which is the hole in the ozone layer, which was headline news a couple of years ago, and right now we barely hear about it. Why? Because it's basically solved. We solved a global problem. Like all of the 100+ countries that signed the agreement all agreed that this ozone layer problem is a very important problem and we need to do something about it. The UN created the framework, and it's a really amazing international achievement that we have fixed the ozone layer, the ozone hole problem. So a few years back, I think in 1990 something, um, the use of CFC, which is a product, a consumer product used in hairspray and spray paint. I think, I'm not really sure, but this CFC is causing a hole in the ozone layer, and scientists in Antarctica starting to realize that, whoa, man, this hole is growing bigger and bigger every year, and we know the cause. It's because of this chemical that we keep spraying into the atmosphere. It's destroying the ozone layer. So it caught the attention of people. People know that if you get exposed to UV light without the ozone layer, you're going to burn. You're going to get skin cancer and all kinds of horrible stuff. So the UN created the convention. I think it is the same one, or maybe a different one. I'm sorry, I'm rambling here, but um, I think 130+ countries agreed to do something about this, and miraculously, we successfully stopped the usage of CFC. The ozone layer started to heal, and right now we barely hear about it because mission accomplished. We as humans on this planet has collectively succeeded on averting a global disaster, and that's thanks to the UN Convention. So this one is pretty similar, UN Convention on Biological Diversity, except the focus is on this holoscene extinction. We're not doing a good job. We back in 2010 in Japan, 130+ countries gathered, and they created this IG biodiversity targets, which is basically 20 targets on things we should focus on, things we should achieve before 2020. So it's 10 years. You know what? After 10 years, none was successfully achieved. Only 6 was achieved, but only partially. And this is really bad news for us, because the more time we spend on not achieving these targets means the more species is going to extinct. And yeah, this is really concerning, at least to me personally, because if the international community isn't focusing on this, there's not much that we can do. Well, to be fair, the IG biodiversity targets, they're not really easy to gauge the success. Like there is no real numbers that these countries need to achieve to be considered successful. So the benchmark of success is quite blurry. That might be one of the reasons why we fail to achieve any of the targets. But still, it goes to show us that the governments of all of these countries aren't focusing enough on these issues. They're putting off regulations. They are not taking any serious actions, and we should be concerned about this. Thankfully, the UN has created a new set of targets. It's not official, but it's been drafted, and hopefully the international community will focus on this more this time. And I really hope by 2030 we are able to slow this extinction, and we are able to achieve all 21 targets that was set in 2020. Yeah, we'll just have to see. But if you ask me personally, I doubt. I don't think we are achieving many of the targets by 2030.
Do you mind to talk about these targets more, like more details on it? What are they?
Oh, sure. Yeah. I'll just Google it for a bit. So the Aichi biodiversity targets that's official was divided into 4 strategic goals. So strategic goal A is to address the underlying causes of biodiversity loss and by mainstreaming biodiversity across government and society. The first target is to raise awareness to people. The second target is to integrate these biodiversity values to the government and to the general public. It's going to be quite long if I elaborate on each of the targets. So I'm just going to brush over them quickly.
Sure.
So essentially, these targets, the strategic goal A was to raise awareness. Basically, the strategic goal B was to reduce pressure on biodiversity and promote sustainable use, and that includes reducing the rate of habitat loss, so slowing down deforestation, also manage agriculture, like what we discussed before, manage agriculture, forestry, and also fishing, things like that. Strategic Goal C is to improve the status of biodiversity by safeguarding ecosystems, species, and genetic diversity. So it includes studying the species that are threatened. So putting them to conservation, studying their genetic diversity, and also increasing the size of protected areas that we also covered before. And the last and the second from last strategic goal D, was to enhance the benefits to all form of biodiversity and ecosystem services. So one of the targets is to provide essential services. So that's water and health and the well-being of people and the indigenous communities, the poor people in the environment. This is actually for humans as well, not just for animals and plants. Also by increasing the resilience of these environments by reducing carbon emission. It says here, also through conservation and restoration of destroyed habitats. And the last one is to enhance the implementation through planning and knowledge management and capacity building. So, of course, all of these ideas, all of these targets sound like a good thing, but without proper management and proper policy, um, proper education, it's not going to happen. So target 17 to 20 focuses on enhancing the implementation through planning and participation of people. So that's basically that. It's a very broad. So it is expected that organizations and countries will use this as the framework for them to take actions and create laws and regulations according to these targets.
Yeah, it's very vague, The there's no way to actually measure these ideas, right?
Yeah, I mean, maybe they didn't put that much of a success measure in it, but yeah, I also believe that we are not doing enough to achieve these targets.
Yeah. I guess the real problem with this is awareness. People are just not aware of it.
Exactly, yeah, it is very true.
Yeah,
Um, it is everyone's job actually to raise awareness. The journalists, the TV stations, and people with big followings. And I really expect on the social media stars and the musicians, the artists, to actually speak more about this because they're the people with the largest following, and people care about what they say. It's I think of it like this: if you have a large following, then it is your obligation, it is your moral obligation to talk about the important stuff and educate your followers. And not many people are doing that. These some public figures talk about these, but some focus on other less important stuff. And yeah, awareness is a really, really like the root of these problem.
maybe we should see more influencers eating insects and rats.
Yeah, I really agree with that.
Yeah,
That will be the way.
yeah, that would gain a lot of attention for sure. Like, you know, what if
Yeah, exactly.
Brad Pitt show us how to eat grasshopper? you know,
People will then go to the market and start buying grasshoppers themselves and try them for themselves.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
absolutely.
there's also this YouTube channel that I'm watching. Is It's hosted by Sunny. I don't know if you're familiar with him. His channel is called The Best Food Show Ever.
I think I've heard of his channel, but I'm not that familiar.
Yeah, he goes around the world and eat a lot of weird stuff, like insects and the silkworms and some although most of his videos are more about meat, but there's also lately he's covering the culture as well and the wildlife. Yeah, it's
Hmm.
I think he could he should eat more insects. I mean, he did actually ate a lot of insects from
That's cool.
On Thailand, in India, ev- in
Oh,
China as
yeah, yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I saw a friend on a vacation to Thailand, and she tried like a variety of like creepy crawlies insects on the street market.
yeah,
Um,
uh,
but actually, there is a downside of framing insects that way, because when you travel to another country and then frame it as like an exotic food, it's going to instead promote xenophobia, that make the Western people think, oh, that's the Asians thing. It's not our thing. I think framing it um, in the, I mean, it is good that he's raising awareness about eating insects, but the way to deliver the message might get misinterpreted by the viewers, because I believe many of the viewers are not familiar with those, and they see it as something exotic, something far away from them, and that might reinforce their belief that it is not something that they usually do. And although it is a good step in the right direction, introducing insects to the general public will need a more close to home approach. So yeah, like what you said, if you want to make the Americans started eating insects, you will need like the Kardashians or Brad Pitt to start eating the insects, because that's what they relate to. That's what they think are their own people. Yeah, something like that.
Trendy, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be more uh how do you call this? More fabulous to eat insects instead of meat. I really believe in this, because if we farm insects and it becomes our main diet, I I believe these insects will be preserved more and more, just like
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
common food source that we have. The p- the hog, the chickens, they could have
Yeah.
been extinct a long time ago, but since we started farming them, they got preserved, right?
Yeah, because people need them
To
to
exist.
eat their meat. Yes.
Yeah. So maybe if we start something like that, if I had the money, I will venture it. I will venture with those that business for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean,
It's a grassroots solution that
yeah,
anyone
absolutely.
can do, right? I mean,
Yeah,
you don't need the government to be involved with it, and you are helping everyone with produce that you make. You
yeah,
provide
absolutely.
food and fertilizer. Yeah, that's a good start to address it. I
Yeah.
mean,
Um,
these things are, you know, don't need intervention with the government because, yeah, I see the government as a double-edged sword. Like and for me, everything they touch, uh, turns corrupt. You know,
mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
For example, the land reform in America, where they started uh, subsidizing the farms. What ended up
Oh,
happening was the big companies started buying all the land,
yeah. That's that's
and
not the way to go.
yeah, and these big companies get subsidized to produce less quality food. So the smaller farms gets shoved aside, and yeah, it's really bad. I'm
Hmm.
I'm very happy that it didn't happen here in the Philippines, although they are pushing that
Oh, really?
some years ago, and I even got into debate with my fellow worker because he was a big proponent of that. He was supporting it, and I was countering him.
Oh,
Yeah, so yeah, I
yeah.
don't.
Also, people like tend to fall to like different political beliefs that um, sometimes might not be true. Like they believe that this is the good thing to do, but in the end, it might not be true, and it's not going to benefit everyone. It's going to benefit those with power and money.
Yeah, I really believe in human freedom. Uh, the government gives you security, but if there is freedom, it's very limited. You are still confined within its fence. if I can, if it that's okay to say, because
Mm.
if you think about it, they are they have captured the population. It's the very reason you have to have a passport to enter
Yeah,
another country, right?
yeah.
Because
It is not freedom.
yeah, it's not really freedom if you have to be screened, and you have to do some papers. It's not really freedom, unlike before the miracle was made. You just take a boat and reach anywhere. If you get lucky, you don't you get you don't get caught in a storm.
Yeah, or like lost in the sea,
Yeah.
lost in direction.
Yeah, it's a good thing that, although I can see that some governments are very soft with their approach, like here in the Philippines. You can s- you can start anything here. Oh, yeah, the only issue is really the capital. If you don't have a deep pocket, I don't think you can go anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah. So yeah, since you brought the video up, yeah, I've been thinking about it a lot. Yeah, maybe we should
oh,
start a new kind of industry. Yeah, the rats and the
the
insect.
insect farm. Yes,
Yeah, we should farm those, because if we want to preserve something, we need to farm it.
yeah, exactly. And also, um, the animals that we farm right now, mainly cows, are not like the best animal to farm because they're quite wasteful. And insects, they're quite the opposite. They can eat anything, and yeah, also like what I mentioned before, the also high in protein, high in its nutritional value is quite high as well.
And some of
And
them are decomposers as well. We really
yeah,
need
exactly.
those, right?
Yeah, that's what we need.
The
And yeah,
so the
the way we do uh, our activities right now are not the most efficient nor the most effective. And if we keep innovating and keep finding better ways to do our activities, it's going to cost less to the environment and it's going to benefit us more. Because as we, you know, we now know that you cannot just burn fossil fuel and power big engine that spew out lots of smoke and pollutants. We know that's not good. But back in the day when the industrial revolution just started, people didn't know that. People didn't know that burning fossil fuel will damage the planet. They just do it, and because it's the best that they know, they continue doing it. And yeah, I think keep innovating and finding more efficient ways to go about our activities is the way we live in harmony with the planet.
yeah, there's also the thing that we need to be selective of what we want to preserve as well. Not everything can be saved, I believe. Like,
Well, yeah, in terms of culture or um,
by
the biodiversity.
biodiversity. Yeah, it's possible that some species don't really do anything, or some species could be just detrimental to everything. But
Yeah.
maybe humans are the one of those species that is detrimental.
Probably that's true, but I don't want to believe it like that. It's it's very sad. But yeah, I mean, evolution by nature is about extinction. So extinction is very natural. Um, all species in the end will go extinct, and it's fine. The ecosystem is fine. The problem that we're seeing right now is that species are going extinct way too fast, way too fast than what the ecosystem is able to adapt. And actually, it's not the extinction itself that's going to cause the problem. It's the ecosystem failure that's going to cause the problem. So as we know that animals and plants have their own roles in the ecosystem, like bees pollinate the flowers, and then snakes and birds hunt the mouse, things like that. And once those keystone species that play a big role in the ecosystem die out, things are going to start going off balance. Like if bees start to die, then there will be no insects, nothing to pollinate flowers, to produce food, to produce fruit and plants. And then certain plants are going to start to die. And it's basically the cascading impacts that we are afraid of. Because one extinct species isn't going to do anything dangerous to the planet. But, thousands disappearing in like 100 years, that's a big issue. That's something that we need to be worried about.
Yeah, you talk about it. It's pretty dark. When the food supply collapses and everyone starts migrating, and those that cannot migrate will start
Yeah,
fighting over
very scary.
what's left. I can only imagine that scenario. I mean, what if you were left behind? Would you Are you willing to kill your fellow man for resources? That's pretty dark.
Yeah, it's really scary, and let's hope we will not get to that point. Let's hope that it's
If
not too late to um, prevent that from happening.
Yeah, in few years ago when there was this hurricane Yolanda hit the Philippines,
Hmm.
the Visayan Islands got hit really hard. There were rumors. This is just a rumor though. I
Uh-huh.
cannot really confirm it. There were rumors that when the aftermath of the hurricane, there was no food, there was no shelter, there was no water. There were rumors that there were incidents of cannibalism in
Oh
those
wow,
rooms
that
because
is so
because
scary.
for many weeks there was no uh action by the government. It's the private sector that actually made the first moves. The celebrities and volunteers that
Uh-huh.
actually went to the area and helped the survivors. And the government came very late, and the officials got really roasted with those event. And yeah,
Mhm.
that's the rumor that I received. I don't know if it's true. Perhaps they covered it up because it would be a bad PR, if you may say.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, what do you personally think? Do you believe it?
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, if you go 5 days without food and water, you'll be rabid. You'll eat anything. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
I when I was younger, I experienced being homeless because I ran away, and for 5 days I experienced hunger, and it really drives you mad, to say the
Oh,
least. Your view of the world change, all your morals go away, and yeah, it's only about survival to
yeah.
the
All you can
highest
think
level
is to survive, how to save your life from.
from
Yeah, I
s-
can imagine.
from dying. Yeah, it's very true. So it's very possible that that happened.
Okay, yeah.
So
Let's you know,
imagine if
imagining that
that
on a global scale.
global scale that happens, man. I guess that's the solution. Yeah, we kill each other and the population get reduced. Maybe the wildlife, the ecosystem can recover. Let
Well, maybe.
less humans, so more for them, more space for them to grow.
Well, yeah, maybe technically that will work, but what's the point? Like having to destroy humanity? Like we have gone so far with our technological advancement and our knowledge and our what we have achieved as a species is the product of a very long history, and to let everyone just riot and destroy each other and then throw us back into the Stone Age is just it just doesn't sit right with me. Like we need to advance as a species, and this is the challenge that we will have to face. Either we succeed or our civilization will collapse and we will go back to the Stone Age. We will start over with people that was lucky enough to survive the disaster. And yeah, I really hope it doesn't go to that point. I really hope that we are able to mitigate these problems, because I think the solution is out there. Like it's only whether or not we want to do it. In the video, I've also included, I don't want to make the video really depressive, really scary. Even with the video right now, I've got a few commenters saying that I was fear mongering. I was scaring people for things that's not actually that scary. But that's the opposite of what I was trying to achieve. Like in the later half of the video, I explained that we can fix this. That we have succeeded in small examples to undo the problems that we caused. And I would like everyone to believe that the problem is real. The problem is really dangerous, really serious, and there is something that we can do about it. And we should not focus on the problem. We should instead focus on the solution, on what we can do. I think that's the point of the whole video.
Yeah, perhaps those comments that don't like your video, perhaps they didn't finish the whole
Yeah,
video, or
I think they didn't finish the whole video.
they misunderstood your video.
Yeah,
Yeah,
could be.
yeah, that's also a possibility. So with all this doom and gloom that we're discussing, what do you think of artificial intelligence role will play on this? Because
Oh,
that could be a factor too to reverse the situation.
yeah. It is. I think AI is a very potential tool, but just like any tool, it can be used as, a tool can either be used to destroy or to build, like a hammer. You can build with a hammer, you can also destroy with a hammer. And the hammer is a great tool. I think AI is like that. This is a bit out of my scope, but I do have my views about it. I know that AI has been utilized in conservation. So I know the story of in Africa where people used to stay up late to census animals. So they have these like camera traps in the forest, and every time an animal passes by, the camera will turn on, and then people will then sort these hundreds, even thousands of photos that the camera took, and then label what animal triggered the camera. They were trying to count how many animals of that species were left. It used to be very labor intensive,
Yeah, I can
but
imagine.
now people are trying to implement AI, image recognition AI, to tell apart which one is a zebra, which one is a lion, which one is a bird. And as far as I'm concerned, the AI has been doing a pretty good job. Although the image that the AI picked it's not 100% perfect, but at least it made the human job a bit easier. So instead of having to sort thousands of images, the human just have to sort maybe 50 images that the AI failed to correctly identify. And that's a huge help of AI in the field of conservation. Simulating um, how ecosystems will fail has also been one way to utilize AI. So it used to be very very CPU intensive to simulate all of these different variables, all of these different species and their roles and their behaviors. It used to be very hard to calculate, but with AI, it can help calculate what will happen if this species of bird goes extinct. What will happen if this species of plant go extinct? So we can understand the situation better and handle the situation better if we know what we're dealing with. I think that's the positive of AI in the context of biodiversity. Other than that, I think we should thread AI carefully. It's something that is very powerful. Maybe it's dangerous to play with, I think.
What are the things that you worry about AI?
Um, I worry a bit about AI taking people's jobs, but I think we discussed this in the previous episode of the podcast. Um, and I also said that we shouldn't worry about AI taking our jobs. We should worry about people using AI to take our jobs because there'll still be people using the AI. It's I just don't know. I think the AI world is changing way too rapidly. Like in just a few months, the advancement will be insane, and we don't know when the advancement will stop. We don't know how what it will cost. I think it all boils down to like what we don't know, and we don't know a lot about AI. What it can do, what it all of it. I think.
I see. Yeah, I think everything boils down to human discipline then, and changing norms. Like, yeah, instead of eating meat and vegetables, we should add a new diet, and people
Yeah,
should
absolutely.
should be open to that idea
Yeah,
because we are all consumers to begin with, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Also, we don't have the power in terms of legislation. I think it would be nice if we actually have a voice because for the most part it's the politicians that get elected. They don't really represent us for what I see. They are only serving their interest. They're very corrupt. Although
Oh yes.
there are people who are legit that wants to do make a difference, but they get overpowered by these corrupt people. Perhaps the AI can help make that happen. Like, uh, for example, we should remove Congress, and
Oh.
yeah, we don't need a representative anymore. We should vote on a particular uh, law ourselves. You know, like for instance, when it comes to preserving the environment, right? It should be really us that is voting for it, not one people that's representing uh,
Yeah.
yeah, it,
I agree with that.
yeah, because these people are very I forgot the words. you know they are they have their interest, and
Oh yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
they don't really think about the small people. And yeah, I think we should vote on what should pass, not them. We, if the artificial intelligence can help with that, I think that would play a big role as well in terms of politics.
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, I have the same view as you about politics because we know that all of these politicians, they get into the positions that they are right now with money. Like, let's be frank, they used money to get to power. And once they're in power, they will want some ways to get that money back or to get even more money. And when money is the interest, it's not going to serve anyone anything good. It's going to serve that politician alone. And it's this conflict of interest that makes politics really inefficient. I think um, changing these tendencies of politicians, these greedy people, to lead us with AI is an interesting concept because we know that machine doesn't have any interest of its own. It doesn't. We definitely know that it's not greedy because it's got nothing to gain. But my concern is that we don't know what the AI will come up with. Like we don't know what its motivation is. Mostly when it's gotten to a point where it's really smart, like smarter than humans. And also, I think there's a risk of the programmer of the AI that might be implementing some codes or some even benign mistakes that will turn out to be fatal once we put it in a such um, strategic position. I think that's the risk. But yeah, we can replace all these greedy bastards in the politics field. I really don't like them.
Yeah, I think the first country who would implement this, who will actually remove these congressmen's, yeah, I think they will have more. They will grow. They will be a very successful country because AI does is very neutral, and it can be fair. And with the concern that you have with the developers, you can just replace the developer. I mean, big big companies will be happy to take over there's on these systems that will be put in place. They'll be competing for it, and I think it will be a great thing if we add artificial intelligence into the mix.
Yeah. Well,
because
actually, thinking
because
about the develop.
at this time it's not only people that's talking. We're talking with the machine as well. So we're
Yeah,
basically mechanizing politics
yeah.
and the government.
Also making it more efficient because
Yeah,
um, the AI won't be taking a lot of money from the people from the tax.
and
But actually, in the
it will
context of.
probably it will probably remove bureaucracy as well,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's a very big solution to all the red tapes, and pass this and I will give you this favor, you know
Uh-huh. All of the lengthy paperwork.
yep.
Um, but about the developers being fair and the AI being fair. I mean, it's highly dependent on the developers. I know this story of Twitter before it was changed to X or whatever. Um, they used to have this, when you post an image on Twitter and you don't crop it to the the post, Twitter will automatically crop your picture to put it in the thumbnail of the post. Um, so I saw a video of people trying um, to find out how this cropping algorithm works. And what it does, it scans its image for something that's interesting, including human faces. So the algorithm will scan the image and will crop in the human face so that it's going to appear on the thumbnail, and the thumbnail is not going to be like half a face, but it's going to show the whole face. The funny thing is, Twitter will only show the face of
The
white
picture.
male,
Oh.
of white male, yes. So if it's like a female, so if you have the picture of two people, like a male and a female, the picture is going to have the tendency to to focus on the male face. And if you have a white male and a black male um, in the photo together, the Twitter is more likely going to crop on the white male's face. So the AI is racist. It's focusing on white men rather than the other races. And apparently, as I know it, I don't think the developer is racist. They just happen to have uh, more white men working on that space, and so they have the sample to train the algorithm, more white men in the sample. And so the I mean, the developer wasn't planning to create a racist AI, but since the sample was by definition not diverse, the AI, the resulting algorithm becomes racist. And this is like one example. This is like one example of why we cannot predict what character the algorithm is going to have, because sometimes it's things that we don't even intend to create, that becomes the the like the side effects of something that we didn't expect. And that's why I don't really trust completely everything, like the lives of people on AI, because sometimes it can be racist, although it's not the intention of the developers.
Well, yeah, to be fair, not everything can be perfect. Even I, as a game developer, expect some results, and it didn't go that well. So yeah, I can understand, but you know, nothing's really gonna change unless you tried it. I believe we need to be courageous. We need to have the courage to try things out,
To take the
and
risk.
yeah, even with the prospected negative effects, we can just fix it. At least once we put it there and we see the problem, at least we will know the problem. So
Oh yeah.
the what I see is nobody is doing something, so nobody knows what to fix. So yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah, exactly. That is absolutely true.
just like Bortic said, you have to take a risk to get something. I believe it's something like that. But yeah, you need to take a risk and trying something out, and whatever comes, you have to make it work.
Okay, so we have to take the risk
Yeah,
to implement AI.
right now people are pushed out. You know, they don't. It's not moving forward. We're not moving forward because nobody. People are too scared to try new things. And yeah, artificial intelligence is at our doorstep. It's knocking on our doors, and
Hmm.
you know, it's either you grab it or not.
Yeah, maybe implementing it in some aspects first, like not the most strategic position first, but like
Yeah, at
help
least
us in certain positions, and it should be more efficient that way.
at least try it at small scales. Then eventually it grows and grows. Start small. Don't have to uh, dump it all at once. You know, that
Yeah.
could be very overwhelming. It could collapse the whole system. Yeah, that would just scary too. Yep. So yeah, we I guess we covered a lot of things today.
Yeah, we covered a lot.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's very interesting to talk about this because I guess my old life has pulled me again when you uploaded that video, the latest one. It's really good, man. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
I, r- I really wish it gets more views and it gets a lot more attention. So
Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
I wish you all the best, man.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, Daxki.
So yeah, do you have anything to promote or you wanna tell the audience before we wrap this up?
Oh, yeah. Maybe I would suggest everyone to watch the video that becomes the topic of our discussion today on my channel, Factor Trace, or you can search it on YouTube. The title is "Should We Worry About the Holocene Extinction?" And that should give you some context on what we talk about today. And I would really appreciate if you would watch the video and give it a like, share maybe, and yeah, I think that's all.
Mm-hmm. Oh wait, I was looking for the questions before I go, but since you're already it's already since this is your second time here, I kinda doesn't make sense anymore to do the traditional questioning before the guests go. I guess
Uh-huh.
I'm just gonna come up with the with the questions myself. Uh,
Okay.
if you die tomorrow, what would you want to eat? Like some kind of a last supper. What would you like to eat?
Oh, it's an interesting question. Wow, I'm going to eat a lot. I like to eat food actually.
Yep.
So only one food.
Yeah, you can get a whole meal actually. Like you need drinks, dessert, everything.
Um, I like one thing that kept popping up to my mind was this Chinese crab soup that you eat in like Chinese ceremonies and parties. It's really good.
Wow.
Uh, I can never get enough of it, and it's quite expensive. I mean, if you were to buy the soup in a Chinese restaurant, it's going to be quite expensive, but it tastes really good, and it's one of my favorite food of all time. And but that's just a soup. So for the main course, I think I'll go for um, I'll just go basic, and I'll just pick pepperoni pizza. Pepperoni pizza.
Wow. Crab and
That's
pepperoni
yeah.
pizza. What about dessert?
Uh, Dessert. I'll just pick fruits because I like fruits, and I'll pick mangoes and rambutan. That's my favorite fruit.
Wow. And your drinks?
My drinks. I'll go basic again and just go for orange juice. It's one of my favorite drinks.
I see. Well, uh, I guess that would be it for today's episode. That's Eric for you. So, yeah, say goodbye.
Okay, thank you for listening, guys. Goodbye.
Okay. Good talk, man.
Yeah, thank you, Duxky, for having me again.
Yeah. Check out his channel, guys. And we'll see you again on a new episode. Bye.